So with those comments as backdrop, let me outline the broad features of the bill. First, the bill allows directions to be issued to online service providers, other entities, or individuals when specified criminal offences take place. Second, the bill makes special provisions for scams and malicious cyber activities. Such activities tend to unfold with great speed and scale. They inflict great harms on the victims, not just in terms of financial losses. The threshold to issue directions should therefore be lower than for other specified criminal offences. We will also require designated online services to put in place systems and processes to counter scams and malicious cyber activities. Members would be familiar with the use of directions to restrict the exposure of users in Singapore to online criminal content and activity. Directions are also a feature of the Protection from Online Falsehoods and Manipulation Act, the Foreign Interference Countermeasures Act, and the Broadcasting Act. What criminal offences can directions be used for? These are criminal offences that affect national security, national harmony, and individual safety, and which have an online nexus. They are specified in the first schedule of the bill. Clause 61A provides the legal threshold for directions to be issued against online activity. Directions can be issued only when there is reasonable suspicion that a specified offence under Part 1 of the first schedule has been committed, and the online activity is in furtherance of that offence. Designated officers will issue directions for criminal offences under their agency's purview. For example, designated officers from the Central Narcotics Bureau will be authorised to issue directions for offences under the Misuse of Drugs Act. While designated officers may be cited in several agencies, a competent authority cited under the Singapore Police Force will serve as a single point of contact across the government for recipients of directions such as online service providers. Clauses 8 to 12 set out the scope of the 5 types of directions. For example, where the police have reasonable suspicion that an account on a social media service is being used for unlicensed money lending activity, they can issue the social media service provider a disabling direction so that the offending post or page is prevented from reaching a person in Singapore, or an account restriction direction so that an offending account is prevented from interacting with persons in Singapore. As a second example, a stop communication direction may be issued to someone who posts text or images inciting violence against people of a certain race. The use of directions limits the reach of criminals and prevents more persons from being exposed to the harm.